Dr. Luther Har Castillo was born in the Garifuna community of San Pedro de Tocamacho, municipality of Juan Francisco Bulnes, Gracias a Dios, Honduras. He is the director of Global Health Partnership at Boston-based Belize Scientific Incorporated. Dr. Castillo graduated from the Latin American School of Medicine, ELAM, with the degree of Doctor in Medicine. He is founder and director of the first Garifuna Hospital. Dr. Castillo became the first Garifuna graduate of the prestigious Harvard University with a master's degree and two specializations in public administration and postgraduate diploma in public policy and management.
To get a scholarship to go to med school in Cuba. That was one of our greatest opportunity in life. Then there was the Cuban people sent us help during the Hurricane Mitch in 1998 in November, who destroyed many parts of Central America. And Honduras was one of the countries who was most impacted by the hurricane. More than 30,000 people died here. Then some of the data say that the country way back, like in development, and more than 30 years. Then, in the middle of all these difficulties, then Cuban doctors arrived here to work in the most remote areas and in our countries. Then afterward, that was in October, November. Then in January and February, they were offering a scholarship to young people who were coming from those remote areas to go to Havana to study medicine. We were and the first team to enroll in those scholarships we compete. I remember we were like 7 Garifunas who went to the School of Medicine. Then when we arrived to Cuba, we quickly organized ourselves and built a small Garifuna students organization, and we started to lobby to bring more of our young brothers and sisters at the Garifuna to join the School of Medicine. Then we found like almost 156 scholarships already in all those years to send those to find opportunities for young people to go to school. Then not only in Latin American School of Medicine, but we found opportunities in Venezuela and Brazil, and even in some other universities in the United States through this effort of our organization to open like doors for young people to go to school, and they can return back. They can go to school and return back to give back to their community. That was our dream, and in 1999 when we start this journey. Then today, if we compare that opportunity that we had since 1999, and now we have almost, if we compare like, if we say that National Autonomous University of Honduras, who was founded in 1847, and it was after 118 years, the first Garifuna become a doctor and at the National Autonomous University of Honduras. Today, through this initiative of our organization doing lobby to find a scholarship, today we have more Garifuna doctors graduated from our program than more than 150 years of existence of the National Autonomous University of Honduras. This is like a way to say that we don't have to wait for the system to do different things for us. I think as a young people, we have to start to move and do action. And I have like the pleasure to talk to you from this clinic, this wonderful project of our brother Douglas Alvarez, who we went to Cuba together, and we finished a school in 2005. We get our specialty in family medicine in 2007 or 8. Then he continued his studies in cardiology, and after he went to Spain to do a subspecialty in electrophysiology and arrhythmology. And today is the first arrhythmologist and electrophysiologist in all the country. And we are proud of him because he's a Garifuna. He's like us. And he come from humbling beginnings. I think people who come from humbling beginnings, they can make the change. Then we have to break the chain and see that there is not dream or impossible, that we can make it, and we can make it together. And we're still a brother. We're still doing things for people. Then I'm here today to organizing a brigade who go to the community. This is our second brigade in these 15 days. And we have been working hard with our team during all this process of the pandemic in the Garifuna community. It has been a wonderful job, accompanied with Fraternal Black Organization of Honduras. We have a team of nurses and black doctors. We are almost 120 who provide knowledge to people through Facebook, to Instagram, to some Facebook Live, to radio station, to some channel of television, and going to the communities and working with the people right there. We take our voluntary time to go and work with the people, specifically in the community. Then we are planning our next brigade, who's coming. Dr. Douglas is coordinating it, to the village of Triunfo de la Cruz. Triunfo de la Cruz is a village now who are facing a big attack from the government today. They kidnapped the leader of the community, Snyder Centeno, who he was like a 24 years old, very young and very dynamic leader who has been struggling to fight for his community and supporting the struggle of the land in that community. That's why we're going there with our team of doctors, working in this campaign to control the process of the pandemic, but working to give support to our people who are struggling to fight for their right for the land. Then I think our team of professionals, not only doctors, we're gonna have psychologists, we're gonna have black lawyers, different other engineers who are gonna join us there for 2 or 3 days, then giving that support to our brothers and people. That's just part of our call of action, being there with the people, that they can count on us, that they can be able to say that we are walking with them during that process of this struggle. Dr. Douglas, we have been working with him because we have a radio station in that community who was closed. Dr. Douglas made a campaign that we can open it, and we opened that radio station, which belonged to the Fraternal Black Organization, I think 4 months ago. And we are working, we have different programs to that radio station. This is a little bit some example of what we are doing in action today as a young people, that we came from the villages, from the poorest villages. We didn't have access. We still in my village, we don't have electricity, we don't have running water, we don't have paved road. But when we came from those remote area with all this spirit of solidarity and sharing, and the energy of our people, that we can become something, but we never lose the tie to our roots, our commitment with our people. We never lose our sense of belonging, which is one of the greatest things I think that young people have to keep. And I think that has been a very interesting journey that we as a young people are doing. And this is one of the hope that we have in this struggle. This journey was began by our ancestors, by Satuye, by Walumugu, by Lombardo Lacayo, the greatest by Barauda, by Miriam Miranda, who has been opening that doors for us. But I think there is a hope now, because we have like a great teams of professional people who are joining this struggle, who are part of this struggle and working hard to keep our flag up, and demonstrating even the government and that we have professional people who are willing to give everything to fight to defend the right of our people. Now we can take the debate to another level. We can take the debate not only in the street when we protest for our right. No, now we have professionals who are highly level of education with PhD, with Dr. MD, with masters, who are willing to take the discussion with any level that the government wants. Then we can go and represent our people in this process. I think this is some dynamic which is very interesting in this time of era. Then that's what then when we talk about this, when I talk about our village, our schools, and the community, the no resources, because we went to the schools maybe without library, and after we have to move to the villages, to a city where we face exclusion, racism, and different others form of exclusion that we face. But I think that make us more stronger, that make us stronger, and we take all this process that we pass to build today, I think, a strong path to the future for the new generation who come after us. Then I think that makes us a strong Garifuna people, a strong professional, very highly prepared academically, but very highly knowledge in our culture. I think when we get knowledge in our culture, I think that gives us that opportunity to be able to share and do the things what we are doing. And the last, I would like to share that we are working too in some innovation and technologies in the last years. We are we launched a program of creating and how we can contribute to the developing country to reduce infant mortality and premature and low weight newborn babies. I think this is a big problem of healthcare around the world. The World Health Organization spend billions of dollars to impact, and they don't have no impact until today to reduce the infant mortality and prematures and low weight babies. Prematures and low weight babies is a really big problem of healthcare, and it's tied to the social condition of the it's tied to the social condition, it's tied to the poverty, because pregnancy before the age and different other conditions were tied to the social situation. Then we are working hard in those technologies. Since 2013, we are part of a team developing a new incubator. This incubator, we call it Nikki as a woman, because no nation can rise any higher than its women. Then we call it Nikki, which means neonatal intensive care incubator. Who was because one of the limitations to reduce the infant mortality and premature babies is we don't have access to technology who can save the life of those babies. The more sophisticated technology what we have in the market is belong to General Electric, but the cost is like $80,000 to $100,000 US. Then our country don't have like access to that economy to buy like great amounts of those technologies. Then with our team and Belize Scientific, we designed a new incubator. We already finished the design already. We are launching the process to fabric this new technology, who's gonna be high-tech technology, who is then beside with side and a little bit up to the technology of General Electric, but it's gonna come to the market very cheap. We have Nikki 1, Nikki 2, and Nikki 3. And Nikki 1 gonna be like a $400 each one. Nikki 2 is gonna be like the middle technology is gonna be like the basic one is gonna be 400, the middle one gonna be like 800, and the top one is gonna be like a $2,000. Comparing all this technology, gonna be accessible. We're gonna have accessibility for the developing country. And the same time, when we were designing that incubator, we designed like a stereodome, no? What we call a housing, where we put the little baby inside this housing, and with saturation of oxygen, then we can isolate that baby from the environment of the hospital. Those environment with vermin, that they can attack that baby who is really weak in his immune system. then
So, Dr. Castillo, I don't mean to interrupt you. Um, One of the things that we have read about you is how dynamic you are with all that you've done, coming from very humble beginnings. And I wanted to ask you, what is, how did you, what motivates you to do this? Like, why, like, you are successful, why go back into your community after you've achieved this level of success? Why have you gone back into your community to create this level of change? I noted you said that it took 100 years for you to have a Garifuna doctor. Why are you passionate about this issue?
I think that this is a very interesting question, and I think we born in those villages that I was telling you, we lack of resources but we have a great gift of solidarity and the sense of belonging and the love that they share with us in this humble environment. I think that's built us this sense of belonging. And the other things we feel as a professional that we have to return back and give back to our people, you know. We are part of that community. I think we have to return and give back to that community. This is part of our sense of belonging, our commitment with our people. I think we belong to that area, then we belong to that people, and we have to return to that people. And those people are expecting for us. They feel proud. I think it's the more blessing things. I think Dr. Douglas can even talk about how he feels. You know, I can call from the village. You know, when we found any patient at any brigade, then and the treatment is like a $3,000, and a cardiologist have to give that treatment, and I can call Dr. Douglas, and he can do it for free. You know, and that can only happen when we have this commitment and this sense of belonging, this solidarity. And the concept of solidarity, which is not like the traditional concept of solidarity. We grow in the concept of solidarity to share what we have, then to share the best what we have. Because we are accustomed to see in the environment a concept of solidarity to give back the pair of shoes that is not fit us anymore, or the pair of suit that is not good anymore. But I think the sense of solidarity, who mean and who is deep in the Garifuna culture, who mean Aru Yabuni Amuru Nuni, who mean I for you and you for me. But before is I for you. How can be able to do for my neighbor? How can I be able to do for my brothers and sisters? I think that make us sleep like a baby in the night. That make us live like like.
Dr. Castillo, could you also tell us how it was when you were growing up? Could you give us an example of what you saw as a child growing up in a remote area in Honduras, and connect that to citizenship as a member of the Garifuna community, the indigenous people who many times were ostracized with a lot of these colonial type environments? Could you tell us what it was like when you were growing up?
Okay, like example for us of when we were growing in those communities, mostly of us grew up with our grandmothers and grandparents, and even if our parents were there, but the grandma house was like a hosting house for us, you know. We go always for grandma, looking for food, looking for everything. Grandma was always there with her authority and her knowledge and her teaching. But today we give more values to those teaching. Maybe we didn't have the ability even to go deep, to learn more about it or to talk more about it when we were a child. But we get those knowledge, and now when I saw my grandma every day, like making a big pot of rice and beans, and she was living there just with my grandpa, and I asked her,
Grandma, why you were cooking for a lot of people? You were living here just with my grandpa. And she would tell me, grandson, someone will pass through here and he's gonna be hungry. You know, she was thinking already about someone who's gonna pass who don't have food, you know. And I think those knowledge that we get from there, we can take it to action today, you know. Those knowledge that we get those deep. Then when the people used to get sick, when a woman in labor have difficulty in labor with the midwife, we had to take them like a 4 to 5 hours in the hammock, you know. They have a stick like this, they put a hammock, they tie the hammock, and with that hammock, our parents used to encourage us to help and go and with that patient, you know, taking them to another village where they have a small clinic. They didn't have doctors over there. The name it was a Sangre-Laya, this small village. They have a small clinic there with some religious sisters who know how to do, you know, sutures, some, you know, injuries and different things, but they used to do everything over there. Some people die in the way. I think some people, we have to return back with them. And I think that was the genesis who teach us that our way to contribute to life is becoming a doctor. But the other thing, how we find our contribution to our country, you know, to rebuild our sense of citizens, you know. I think to be a citizen is not mean just to have an ID, you know. I think we have rights, you know, but other things we have responsibilities, what we have to do for our people, what we have to do for our country, what we have to do for our community. And I think being for us to be able to make a strong statement about our concept, about our citizenship, we have to reinforce ourselves, even to go a little bit up in the level of education. And today we can contribute in the scientific area. We can contribute to the social analysis from the communities, and we can build, we can fight for the right of our people too. Be able to know that, you know, to fight for that, our right as a citizens, you know, and we can have more knowledge to fight for the right of our people. We can talk about them. Then sometimes we don't have to wait for the government to do things for us, how we can move to do it. But we don't have to forget that we have a right to demand to the people who are governing us, you know. We have the right to demand us. Then we are not begging for our just right, you know. That's the government have to do for us. Then this is part what we think who is one of our elements, how we contribute to make a strong statement as a citizens, how we participate in the process of the action and to build this citizenship. And I think, and to build it for those generations who are coming after us, because they're watching us. They're another Jones people watching what we are doing, and they can have this broad and integral concept of citizenship, that they can be living that citizenship in life, not only in concept, but we think that they got to be living in action this level of citizenship. I don't know if I answered the question.
You absolutely did, and I'll tell you, your story is extremely inspiring. We have a lot of people several people on the Zoom that are from remote villages, and some may have similar experiences. What I'm going to do, I'm going to ask them to start asking questions. So guys, could you raise your hands? And once you raise your hands, if you have any questions for Dr. Castillo, you could ask the questions. We already have one person, Eloidia Rash. Go ahead.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Dr. Castillo. It's a pleasure meeting you virtually. Does everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Eloidia.
Yes.
Sure. I read interesting biography about Dr. Castillo during the day, where it presented some of the work he does in the hospital that he was a part of. I have two questions. one particularly with the hospital and the other one particularly with his knowledge. How does the Garifuna traditional knowledge and practices being seen at the health institutions in Honduras? Does the health practitioners acknowledge Garifuna practices in that country? Or is there a way that this hospital is being adapting or incorporating the traditional practices of the Garifunas? That is one of my questions. My second question is, as a doctor by profession, does because doctor studies scientifically, how do Dr. Castillo see your traditional practices by the Garifuna contradicting the modern way of studying a doctor by book? Those are my two questions, Doctor.
Elodio Rush. Okay. Very interesting question. Maybe Dr. Douglas can help me too. I think we have sometime when we want to. The first question is about the Garifuna practices and the Garifuna Hospital. I think one of our biggest challenges in creating that project, we're still struggling for that project, because this project is still surviving, It's not that we, like a surviving daily, struggling to keep it because they face many challenges. They face the challenge with the system. First, we would declare illegal project. The illegal project because we didn't born from the government side, Then the government, when they design their rules to create the healthcare system, then didn't count on us, Then we cannot find ourselves inside the national system. Then that's why first they declared us illegal. We have to build our way. We have to build our own even facilities, looking, with our people and with our own vision to develop. We create like a small system of healthcare in a community, in the Garifuna communities, with our vision, and who contradicted a little bit with the traditional way to do medicine. Even sometimes with the traditional way, how they teach medicine and with the Western view and the school of medicine, where they teach you that the patient is like anatomy, physiology, histology, and embryology, specifically muscles, bones, nerves. But we in this Garifuna concept to see this medicine, we see it in the way of biopsychosocial way to do medicine. Not only the biological part of what we learn from the school, but the people have a psychological part too, which is very interesting. I think our School of Medicine in Cuba reinforced that value for us to do this holistic analysis of our patient, because this patient have some psychological crisis, maybe come from a nuclear family, maybe the crisis of the division situation, the crisis was inside the family. You have to be able to do the analysis of the crisis in this patient. But on the other side, this patient is living in the social environment that you need to have a knowledge of it. But this social environment has another culture too, has a differential culture, who is the Garifuna culture too. Then I think this holistic way that make a big challenge for us to do it, even to continue doing this project and the Garifuna village. Then we face many contradictions, but we had to build our lobby. Even we have to, that's why we were thinking that it was very interesting to even how we can use our degrees, our careers to do lobbies for our community. Because when we face attack, we went to the Black Caucus in US and talked to the members of the Black Caucus. We talked to the members of the even Latino Caucus, Central American Caucus, Progressive Caucus of the Democratic Party. We went to the PAHO, we went to the OMAS and talk about our right, even who is internationally, who is even explained in 169, I think OIT, I don't know, OLO, is an international workers organization, what Honduras is signature, then we have a right as a Garifuna people that we can design and create our own system of health. And the government have to support this system of health. Then we have this right, we have this flag. Our country went to Geneva, and you know, all those politicians went to Geneva and put their hand up that they approved that law. And they come here, they didn't tell us, but we read. Then they approve it, then we implement it here. You know, we take the flag and fight for it. That's one of the umbrella, how we build the Garifuna Hospital. We're still struggling for it because that's a way to work, you know, during the process of the struggle. The other thing, how the Garifuna practice contradicts that my grandma used to give me when I returned back from the med school. Every vacation, she make the tea. Then she just make the tea and tell you when you feel a little bit, you know, with pain and everything, she put some herb together and tell you, drink this. Then you say, hey, grandma, what do you have here? She say, drink it. And he say, what do you have there? I'm the doctor. He say, drink it. I grow you with that. Then you drink it. Then now we have the opportunity to learn about this. All this. If we see the history, the first Garifuna doctor become doctor in 118 years of the existence of National Autonomous University of Honduras. How our people survived in those 118 years? It was with Garifuna medicine. It was with our traditional knowledges. We cannot go to a school, to the Western school today and come to deny the knowledge, the scientific knowledge of our people. You know, I think we went to school to give support to the scientific knowledge of our people. We take the Western knowledge and put it together, how we can implement an integral model of healthcare, an alternative model of healthcare who can be delivered to the developing country, to the poorest area, who can solve and save lives of people in those remote areas. Then that's why, and today we can talk about scientific proof. We can talk about scientific proof of different herbs, scientific proof of different technique. I think it's a challenge to the academy to be able to go back and look, you know, it's not a challenge of the village, for the village to make academically the knowledge from the village. No, it's a challenge to the academy to return back to the village, to return back to those knowledge of our people, the deep knowledge of our ancestors, and learn from them. I think there are many things to learn from there. Then even if they want to put a condition, their scientific method to this, okay, it's gonna be we can congratulate the science. Then we have been even taking many scientists to the community to do some work, but we keep strong tight to our culture, to our knowledge, and to the knowledge of our ancestors, because we think that knowledge belongs to us.
Dr. Castillo, we also have a second question coming from Jamal Swazo. Go ahead, Jamal.
Good night, Dr. Castillo. My question is after you received your qualification, what influenced you to go back and to I know that you mentioned that you wanted to see your community develop, but in Belize we have many people who come from impoverished communities that do not return because it would be difficult for them to apply what they have learned, and they see it as not something that they do not want to go back there. So you could speak on what motivated you to go back, and how were you able to mobilize your community to build this hospital and to want to work for it to survive?
Jamal, this is a very interesting question. I think one of the greatest things to make us return is that sense of belonging. But one of the things that I think, and with Brother Douglas, we have been talking about it. We have we found a scholarship for those Garifuna brothers and sisters, because we were looking for a way for them to go to school, you know, to get knowledge, to make them professional. But in all this process, we learned that we didn't prepare for them to return. you know, we didn't have like a job for them in the villages to return. Then we were sending them to school to be able to return, but we didn't prepare for them to return. And this is part of the thing that we have to fix it in the way. And we don't have to, sometimes, you know, we don't have to get angry with them when they don't return. I think one of the greatest things that we have been learning doing this process, because this process is like a mathematics, you know, you have the y-axis, you have the x-axis. In the y-axis, you have the actions that you build, you know, and in the x-axis, you have the legitimacy that you have to build, you know. Then you do an effort, you know, you do an action in the y-axis, automatically you receive a reaction sometime from the system, you know, who oppose to that action. But you cannot lose all your forces, you know, trying to push that reaction. You have to build some legitimacy in the x-axis, you know, and give you some time to do another action in the y-axis and build another legitimacy in the x-axis. That's the way how we achieve the goals. Then when we start this program of scholarship, we were thinking how all those people can return. But now the way working in that struggle has been teaching us that reality is not really like that. We need our people in different scenarios. Then I think if my brother Douglas, it was not in the city with this wonderful center, I didn't have opportunity to send the brothers from the villages and tell Dr. Suyapa, who is leading the hospital now, to any patient that you have with this complication, send it to San Pedro Sula to Dr. Douglas, or any patient, send it to Dr. Wendy in the gynecologist hospital in Trujillo, send it to other one, to Karen in the orthopedic hospital, and different other things. Then we have to understand, I think we have to be in different front. As a citizens, we cannot reduce our concept of citizenship even to a country, not even to a village, because I think we are, I don't know how to say, we are struggling, you know, the concept I think we have to be the citizen of the world, you know. I think this is one of the greatest things, you know, because country is a humanity, you know. And in Spanish, they say patria es humanidad, you know, it's a humanity, you know, and this is a big, strong thing. Then I think we set the example working with our people, but now many people are taking the example what we are doing. We built the second hospital in Colina, Santa Barbara in Honduras, who is not the Garifuna community. It's a farmers area who cultivate coffee, very poor people. We have a small hospital. We design it. We take it from the example of the Garifuna Hospital. We are creating another project in the indigenous indigenous Lenca community, who's going to be the first Lenca clinic that come from the Garifuna experience. But you know, we are exporting that. But on the other side, there is a line in Honduras who they call PCM 25-2012, who they declared the Garifuna Hospital. After we were declared illegal, we were declared by law as an example, you know, as a model of a real integral primary health care in the country. That's, you know, we made that with this action of, you know, doing the action and the y-axis, we get the reaction and build some legitimacy, and the x-axis, we do some action and build some legitimacy. I think this is one of the things who make us do this action. Today, I'm not really working directly in the hospital. We have another of our brothers and sisters taking the action, leading the process over there. I remember 2000, 2005, I was running away, organizing brigade. Today, I can join the brigade. Our doctors are organizing, doing different work. I can help with many other things, but Dr. Suyapa is leading the hospital. I think we have this element of those brothers and sisters doing wonderful things in different part of the country. And today in different part
Dr. Castillo, I don't mean to interrupt. We actually have 4 more people that need to ask you questions. We have Frank Garba.
Yes, good night. Yes, good night, Dr. Castillo. You touched on citizenship several times about it's a responsibility to our country. We have to reinforce ourselves by leveling up in education, which I deem very important. How do we get this message across to, well, for us in Belize, to the rest of our young population, who we are seeing a lot of them going into crime and drugs? How do we get this into their heads that they can become something in our country? There are avenues for them to become productive citizens.
Wow, this is a very interesting and difficult question, my dear beloved brother. We're facing those difficulties all over, but we are trying to do something here, specifically working with the young people. I think that many of the young people follow like a model, you know. We have to try what we are trying to do here with those examples of the project, and we are trying to marketing all those example of projects, all this new model of professional. Because when we go to the villages, those children are watching us, you know. They want to walk like us, they want to dance like us, you know. They want to play with our stethoscope. And now when we return, they are playing to be a doctor, they plan to be an engineer, they plan to dance like a doctor, they plan to dance like the, usually in the past, when you go to the academy, you lose your culture, you know. You come with the white coat to the village, you know. You walk like this, you don't want to talk to people, you know. You don't want to dance punta, you don't want to sing paranda, you don't want, you know. And this generation, what we are trying to do, we make those kids proud, you know. We share with them, you know, and they are, you know, proud doing things like us. I think they are watching us. Then we think we are safe in example over there. We're safe in a very example. Now, the other things how we have like some small program of a scholarship providing some support to kids to go to school. It's a humble one. It's a small things, but sometimes we arrive to a community. We arrived, I think, last some months ago. It was from the beginning of that school. We make an effort and we bring like it was like a 600 bags, and those bags with notebooks and pencils and everything. We arrived to those villages and boom, we give them those 600 bags to all the kids there. And we saw some reality and say, there were mothers that they didn't send their kids to school because they didn't have the opportunity to have just the notebooks, you know. And we're doing that action to encourage those people. And the other thing, we building this citizenship and setting those examples, that we're trying to tell those kids that our future is here too in our country, you know. Even though we went to Cuba to go to school, and after Dr. Douglas went to Spain to get his degree, I went to the Harvard University to get, 2 degrees over there. When we return back, they read about us, you know. I think we make those proud, but we think we have to try to use more that technology to try to market those great examples of young people, you know, and those young guys can see those examples next to them, you know, it's not like example far away, like a Bill Gates example, you know, like when they say a Bill Gates, he's a billionaire guy. If you effort yourself, you can be like a Bill Gates. That we want to say that you can be like a Dr. Douglas, you know, who's nearby right there, coming from Triunfo de la Cruz, and he's a cardiologist. He's the only electrophysiologist here, you know, and he's the one who can, put pacemaker and everything in the country, you know. Yeah, we want those children who say, I want to be like Douglas, you know, and I want to be like, I want to be like Wendy. I want to be like someone who is near to them, and they can see that there is nothing impossible, and they can make their dream true. The other things what we are doing with our grassroots organization, we rescue almost 5,000 acres of land, and today we are planting those land. We bring in young people to live there. We call the place Vallecito. We already created a school over there. We have 68 children going to school because we invite single mom to live there. We build the small houses for them to live there in that land. They can cultivate the land. But those kids, we are educating them you know, not in the really traditional system of education. They go, they know how to plant, they know how to love the environment, how to love the rivers and everything. Those kids gonna be a new generation. Then now we have a kindergarten there with 24 small kids, you know, and we have this school with 68, and we're gonna have a school over there. And now we are writing a project of the UGA, you know, Universidad Garifuna University. We dream that that's gonna be over there. When we launched the project to create a high school over there, they told us that we didn't have people prepared to go and to give a class over there. That's why they didn't give us the permit first. Then we signed, a team of us signed like a voluntary. The Dr. Ronnie Castillo, who is doing his second PhD at the University of Texas in Austin, he signed as the director of the school. I signed as a teacher of the school. Another friend signed who got his master in Spain, signed as a part of the team. Then we get this team. Then when we go in and present our petition, it was difficult to deny it. We opened the way for our community to do it. I think doing that action, I think us as example, getting closer to the community, mix it with the community, feeling that the community is part of us, you know, I think is the best way that we can take the people out of that situation, of that condition, even being a part of them. When we talk with them, they don't see us like a far away from them. They see us like a part of them. I think it's a great example that we can do. Juan Carlos, is a very interesting question. I don't know if I answered some of it.
Dr. Castillo, we have Dominique Norales. Go ahead with your question, Dominique.
Sure. Thank you very much, Miss Aria. So good night, everyone. Again, my question is, what words of advice do you have for young Indigenous people who are trying to reconnect with their Indigenous heritage and identity to realize their life's purpose and collective consciousness? What words of advice do you have for the rebels of today who are from these Indigenous communities that have historically, because of colonialism
Dominique,
and capitalism?
I'm not.
Dominique, you have to speak up a little bit.
Oh,
I think the
sorry.
doctor is having a tough time hearing you.
Louder.
Sorry. Are you hearing me now? Hello?
I can hear you, Dr. Castillo. Can you hear her?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. What advice do you have for young Indigenous people who are trying to reconnect with their heritage, to realize their collective consciousness? What advice do you have for us? Because I consider myself one of those young people. How do young people reconnect with Indigenous heritage to realize their life's purpose in today's world, especially given the historical context of how Indigenous people are treated in post-colonial societies?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dominique, this is a very deep question. Very interesting and deep question. Thank you. It's a I think we are looking for the answer of this question. Mm-hmm. It's difficult to like draw a path for it. Yeah. I think daily we have to strategize and find for solution how we can reconnect those people, our young people, with their heritage. Sometimes some of them didn't have the opportunity to grow in the environment connected with the heritage. But now we are strategizing, like working with our people in the diaspora. I think they have great things to contribute to the community. They have the opportunity even to make lobby internationally for our people. You know, they can have better opportunity to push, you know, and fight for our right back home from the scenario where they are now, you know. Then strategizing, we contact them, we find them and put them like a part of the struggle. And even using the technologies today, we are inviting them. Now, next month, we're gonna launch a program at the television, and 30 minutes gonna be talking about the diaspora, things successfully that we can do together with the diaspora, even with the example of our country, who, you know, I think the economy of our country is based on the money what our brothers and sisters are sending from US. then they have something very important, you know, to give to us, not only economically, but in their position. Now we facing another situation with their kids who born out of the country, but those kids are looking for the way how they can connect back to the heritage. We are building programs, summer program too. People can return back and to the villages, to the community. We create that program with even connection and convening with universities. Then those kids can return back. They can do semesters back home. They can come and write their thesis and PhD, masters, and the communities. They can come and do the internship, working with organizations, with our doctors, you know, and their different clinic. We are finding, you know, all those strategizing every day how we can bring them back and connect them. The same strategy what we are doing, how we can connect those kids back home with the others who are in another part. I think, and it's really hard in the middle of this in this system of education who is oppressing us, you know, who is a patriarchal system of education, who is a racist system of education, who is like a colonial system of education, you know. Then, and we are struggling daily to bring this bilingual education to our community, not only in the way to teach our people Garifuna, because we don't want this, we don't want them to translate the same colonial education for us in Garifuna. No, we want a system of education who can come from the bottom, from the roots of our people, who take the knowledge of our people, the values of our people, the moral principle and the philosophy of our people. I think this is the way to build this strategy of to liberate our people from this colonial education or this colonial oppression, what the system are teaching us every time. And when we talk about this, they are thinking like, you know, sometimes when I was talking about Garifuna Hospital, many people, even some of our brothers were thinking that I was crazy. And now it's a reality. We're still struggling, but it's a reality. Then today, when we're talking about Garifuna University, some people are thinking that we are thinking too big. But Maya Angelos give us you know, left of a great heritage and tell us that if your dream doesn't make you afraid, you are not dreaming big enough. I think we're doing some of this work step by step. It's difficult to say this is the way, but we can give some example that what we are doing and see what you are doing on the other side. I think we can come together and try to build some connection together in terms of creating a strategy to free our people from this post-colonial. I don't know, it's difficult to think that it's post-colonial because it's still oppressing us. You know.
Yes, thank you very much.
It's a wonderful question, Dominique. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Castillo, we have like 15 more minutes. I do have 3 more questions. And by the way, that was a great quote by Maya Angelou. If your dreams don't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough. I think that's a good message right there. Lisel Swayze.
Good night, everybody. Mr. Castillo, Dr. Castillo, sorry. What advice would you give to a med school student who is struggling to through anything? It could be possibly anything like abuse, family problems, bullying, whatever it might be. What advice would you give them?
I think one of the greatest things, you know, medicine is a great career. You know, sometimes the program I've designed like because you have to read a lot, you know, you have to work a lot. It's designed like the way it's only in the biological action. But I think for med students who are struggling with all this situation, one of the things is that you are struggling for something beautiful, you know, saving lives, you know, working with people is something, you know, when you accomplish that, you're gonna be very happy daily, you know, and the things that you're doing when the people are telling you, calling you, you know, doctor, you remember these kids, you know, you delivered that baby some years ago. Oh, you say, you don't even remember, but you say, oh yeah, yes, well, he's growing. The things that you can feel inside because that opportunity that profession has given you to do. The other things, and if the program is set like 6 and 7 years, and sometimes you go and do your specialty 12, 14 years and different things, you're gonna be studying all time and with something very interesting. But if you don't finish it in 6, you do it in 8, do it in 10. If you have any difficulties, you know, the difficulties make you strong, you know. You are writing a page in the book of history, you know, with a gold pen. I think that will make your career more stronger. That make your career, you know, I went to school in Honduras. I couldn't afford it. Then, you know, I had to work. I went to med school first in Honduras. I couldn't afford it. Dr. Douglas too, he couldn't afford it, you know. We went to med school in Honduras. I had to work in the day, you know, because I couldn't find work in the night. Then work half time and go half time to school. I couldn't even, you know, make it, you know, and take all my classes because chemistry classes, theoretical classes was in the morning and the chemistry practical classes was during the afternoon. I couldn't even meet my class horarium and these things, you know. Then after I went to El Salvador, I tried to went to school there working. I couldn't make it. And I took like, and in that effort, I took like 14 classes of medicine during when I began in Honduras and El Salvador, but it was difficult for me. Then when I found the opportunity to do the scholarship after the Hurricane Mish, wow, I was the first one wanted to go to Cuba. When I arrived to Cuba, yeah, after you. I returned to Cuba. Yeah, you arrived before.
No, I arrived after you.
Oh, you arrived after me. But yeah, we arrived March 17. You arrived in April. Yeah.
No, in March the
It's March 3, not March 19. 2 days after Dr. Douglas arrived. Then when we start to Cuba, even though that we already passed 12 classes at the university in Honduras and Salvador, we have to repeat the class again in Cuba. You know, and it was an honor for us to do it, you know, to find this opportunity and to do it. I think the medical career is a very great and wonderful career. Any struggle that you make over there, that's gonna have a wonderful result. I think now you have many of our brothers and sisters, medical doctors over here. You can contact us through Facebook, through Instagram. You can find Dr. Douglas Alvarez, who is a cardiologist, who can find me. You can find another Garifuna brothers who can help you, you know, in any things to share knowledge, experience, and some of our experience to you. I think that's gonna be something to open your network, you know. And anytime when you wanna come and visit us and do some things with us here and collaborate with us in what we are doing, then Belize is nearby here. Then it's gonna be we're gonna be very happy maybe to receive you over here.
We have another question from Miriam Pereza. Miriam?
Good night.
Sorry, I don't know.
Good night, doctors.
Would you like to hear a few things that...
Well, my question is, Dr. Castillo, based on your experience, what advice can you give us as Belizean youths to get the government interested in starting projects in remote villages? For example, here in Belize, we have a lot of people who live in really far places, mostly on the southern part of the country, who don't really have any medical attention that's near. They take maybe like more than an hour. Most of the time they walk. And also kids, they don't have access to schools. As you said, you walk 3 hours to reach to the school. They have to walk a lot as well. So how can we get the government interested in starting any project? Because sometimes I feel like we are the ones who have to step up so the government can pay attention to what we are doing and maybe they get interested.
I think that's a very interesting question, Miriam. You have a wonderful name, Miriam. Miriam is the
Oh,
name
thank you.
of our boss,
Ah.
the president of the Fraternal Black Organization in Honduras. She's a woman. We have a matriarchal society. My grandma used to say that the men give the last word, and the last word is yes, my love. Then
Exactly.
we have then I think this is very, very important question, very interesting. And we, as a young people, have to learn the power that we have today in our hand with the technologies, you know. And then we have to learn that all these technologies, not only to chat and do some TikTok and do some different other things, you know, and post a sexy picture somewhere. No, I think there is a power in our hand with the technologies. Today in the world, we can get the attention of any government with our campaign. How we can join our people, you know, our young people, you know, in campaigning against governments, campaigning for a cause, you know, and that has been very interesting for us. They kidnapped 5 of our young people from the community of Triunfo de la Cruz. They thought that it's gonna be like something easy, that we're gonna forget it in 3 days, and we're gonna get like afraid. But we are campaigning today through even during the curfew in the country. They kidnap our brothers during the curfew, you know, and they kidnapped them, and the military kidnapped them to take them to kill them because our brothers were defending the land. And after the government are designing with the military a campaign to destroy the image of our brother, telling that they were in other things, you know, you know, in some illegal situation. They were building their campaign. But today our campaign is more stronger because we're doing it everywhere, you know. We have today more than 60 days campaigning online every day with our young people over there, some young people demonstrating, they doing it online. We organize even a paranda concert against that people who kidnap our brothers and sisters. We are struggling in that thing. I think those young people have that power in their hand has been resulting, campaigning for a cause. If all of us are talking about it, and we don't get tired talking about it, we keep the campaign over there. You know, we not only keep the campaign to the government office, no, we keep the campaign to those who give money to the government. Sometimes what's happening here, you can burn flags and, you know, take a street and everything, block the street and everything. Then we have been learning something. Then we go to the boss of the government, you know. When we go to the boss of the government, international, we go to the international organization, we go to the organization who give money to the government, then the government pay attention, you know. I think we were in the day 18 in our campaign against this situation of kidnapping, 18, and the president of the country, he didn't say nothing. We were in 25 days struggling. He didn't even say nothing. He didn't say that, let those people protest. He didn't even say nothing. When one of our letters get to the Congress, we made a lobby in the Congress of the US. We made 36 of the members of the Congress to sign that letter to the Secretary of the State of US. When that letter arrived to the newspaper in Honduras, the same day the president tweeted 3 times about the situation of our brothers. And immediately, 15 days after, the international court sent a letter directly to the government. And we make a law. This lobby was made by our young people, you know. Then now we have a letter from almost 6 presidents from different parts of the world. We already have letter from the president of Belize, from 5 members of the former members of the former Secretary of the States of Belize, and we have from the Grenadines, we have from Costa Rica, we have from different countries who are supporting our struggle. I think this network we can build it today with the potential what we have in our hand with technologies. I think that's going to be something very, very, very important.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
We also have Lisselle Swayze. Lachelle?
I think she asked her question already. I think.
Oh, she did. Okay, so we have one more, and that's Tristy King.
Evening, sir. Mr. Castillo. Dr. Castillo, have you ever been to Belize?
Aria. Yeah, I love Belize. I lived there. I lived in Nangriga in 1995.
Sir, so
I get some dollar fried chicken over there in Belize City. I used to visit.
Sir, so when you made that at Belize, which hospital you may work or you may volunteer?
When I was there, when I was in Belize, I don't even, I was there, I think I was like 15 years old. I didn't even dream to become a doctor in that time. Then I was living there. I live in Dangriga. I visit Hopkins. I visit Paney. And I used to live in Belize City for a few years. 1995, 1996, I used to live in Belize. But then I started med school in 1999. After coming from Belize, I went to Salvador, and from Salvador to Cuba to study medicine. Then I have Belize in my heart.
Thanks.
We have one more question, and that's from Nadir Mendoza. Go ahead, Nadir.
I have a question. This is pertaining to medical studies. In your response to COVID-19, I have a question. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, so I can hear you.
A little bit more loud.
How about now?
Okay, now, yeah.
All right. So basically, why would we recommend ventilators, right? If the epithelial membrane of the alveolar membrane of the lungs already loses its flexibility and its ability to diffuse oxygen, into the capillary membrane. And why don't they use the ECMO, the extracorporeal membrane oxygenation machine, to carry the better, which takes deoxygenated but out of the body, oxygenated, adds oxygen to it and puts it back into the body.
Can you talk a little bit louder, and Dr. Douglas can hear you, because I think say something. You're talking about some cardiac membrane.
Yeah, because like in the lungs, we have the alveolar epithelial membrane and the basement membrane.
Okay, can you talk louder that we can?
So Dr. Castillo, I think he's asking a question specifically to coronavirus and the use of the ventilator, and I think you missed that first part. So go ahead, Nadir.
Okay, how about now? Can you guys hear me better? Hello?
We are trying to listen in, but it's very loud. I think your microphone or something like that.
All right, how about now? It's better?
I can hear you, but maybe.
Okay, I'll just.
Maybe
you want to type
the question, and then write it, and Sister Berlin, maybe you can repeat it to us. I think that can be better.
Yes, that's what I was suggesting.
It's a lot. I'll just try to speak as loud as possible. It's better.
Okay.
All right. In response to coronavirus, right? Because coronavirus, affects the lungs and the alveolar epithelial membrane, right? So it basically shrinks the membrane and it destroys some of the cells. So why do we use a ventilator, which helps with the oxygen to reach the lungs and the alveoli, and these membranes are already destroyed. Like, why don't we use like the extracorporeal membrane oxygenation machine, which takes the blood out of the body, oxygenates, adds oxygen to it, and put it back in the body.
Did you hear him, Dr. Castillo?
Can you repeat it to us, please?
So I can't repeat the medical terms, but he was saying why he was asking specifically about coronavirus. Why do we use the ventilator when the coronavirus itself weakens the lungs? And I guess using that method on the patient in a weakened state creates more damage rather than using a system that oxygenates the blood and create that blood flow. I think, am I right? Is that the more or less your question, Nadir?
Yes, ma'am, that was the question, because the epithelial membrane is already damaged. So why would you use a ventilator if the membrane cannot function properly?
So he's specifically asking about the ventilator. Why use it? Because of the weakened state caused by the virus itself.
Rather than using the ECMO machine.
Rather than using the what?
ECMO machine.
ECMO machine.
Membrane oxygenation machine.
¿Puedes explicarle? Yo lo traduzco.
Bueno, por eso, o sea,
Nadir, I think we can try to answer your question here. Dr. Douglas was explaining something, and I can try to translate it to you.
okay. En los daños por coronavirus, tanto a nivel pulmonar como cardíaco, predomina el efecto inflamatorio y trombogénico.
Then when we got, and the damage by coronavirus, and the more predominant element are the inflammatory action, and usually, and estamos hablando de lo cardíaco y estamos hablando de lo, sí, in the cardiac area and in the respiratory system, in the cardiac system and respiratory system.
Ya, entonces, a nivel pulmonar, aparte no está tanto daño de membranas, sino inflamación y trombos en esas áreas y que lleva después al colapso. Entonces, inicialmente, entre las medidas se llegaba a intubar incluso hasta precozmente los pacientes, pero al final moría más con esa misma inflamación más rápida.
Ya, porque era como, no se sabía mucho sobre la enfermedad. Sí, then before, when the coronavirus was, the crisis of the pandemic was starting, even this, all this inflammatory process and what we call like a small thrombo is the action what we have in the organism. Many people die because the doctor didn't have the knowledge how to handle and manage the pathology. Then many of them, and they were using mechanic ventilators, and that's why many people die with those mechanic ventilators, because they was thinking that the causes it was only respiratory, but they were more causes, like all the process of inflammation and all the process of what we call bomba de cytokinas, no? Yeah. Bomba, I don't know how to say bomba de cytokinas in English. Cytokines, bomb, no, I don't know how to say.
No, cascada de citoquinas.
Cascada de citoquinas.
Una explosión de citoquinas.
Una explosión de citoquinas. I don't know how to say it in English, but about this bomba de cytokinas.
Yeah, cytokine reaction.
Like, it is correct to say cytokine reaction? Nadir?
Yes, sir.
Nadir?
Yes, I'm here.
What kind of reaction are you saying, Dr. Castillo?
Conociendo más, pues se dieron cuenta que era mucho mejor usar antiinflamatorio de forma temprana y usar también flujo de alto, ventilación de alto flujo.
Then I think, and after the doctor start to work and learn more about this situation of coronavirus, and today, many of them, they are not using primarily ventilators, they are using anti-inflammatory, and they are using steroid, and they are using the saturation of
high
level of oxygen.
Yeah, and antithrombotic agent.
And sometimes some antithrombotic agents, you know. I don't know if you understand all these mixes that we were telling you. Dr. Douglas has a lot of patients of that and his cardiologist attentions.
Yes, I understand because a coronavirus also causes the myocardium to be inflamed.
Yeah. Y la inflamación miocardia que lo causa también causa la inflamación. You're right.
También con antiinflamatorios, antitrombóticos.
That's why now they're using a lot of anti-inflammatory and antithrombotic medications. Yeah. Yeah.
So, Dr. Castillo, let me tell you what a wide range of topics you went from your early childhood to the great innovative work as a citizen that you are doing. And to me, one of the big takeaways is you can't wait for your government to do it. You organize, it's inspiring. And then we got some medical advice at the end, which was amazing. I am really impressed with your presentation. I know some people have sent me messages saying, is there any way that they can contact you or give us a website? You could send it to us later on, where for the people who are more interested in learning more, where they can share this information and learn from you. I am so thankful that you gave us your time. I don't know if a lot of the fellows can appreciate the person that they're talking to, coming from out of the remote areas of Honduras, traveling the world, creating some serious changes in your community. And I think that your story is impactful. It's awesome. Thank you, Dr. Castillo. I personally really enjoyed this session. Verlene?
Thank you for the invitation. And I'm very grateful that my brother Douglas Alvarez is here with me, sharing this panel. It's a great honor for me. And thank you for invitation. And
Dr. Castillo, one person, Darvin Show, has a question. And that will be the last question, guys, because we are taking up quite a bit of the doctor's time. So he'll be your last question. Go ahead.
Hi, good night, everyone. Good night, Dr. Castillo. I was expecting to hear the question from others, but nevertheless, Doctor, will there be a cure for the coronavirus?
Will there be a cure for coronavirus? ¿Una cura para el coronavirus?
No. Doctor are working in that way.
I think there are many efforts today. Doctors working in vaccines and different things, but we think that this virus come to live with us and stay. I think we have to learn and change. I think this virus changed the war behavior.
Now we know a little bit how to control it.
Now we know how to handle it and control it, be among ourselves. And I think the first vaccine is, who is more advanced, is like the one who's come from Russia. That's gonna be ready for Russian population in November and October, November, and all the clinical trial has been very interesting because I have been reading about it. It's a very interesting process. The other, they have another one at the University of Oxford is developing a great other vaccine that's going to take a little bit longer.
They have some reaction, but they continue.
Yeah, they have been having some adverse reaction to it, but they continue testing it. But the reaction has been not really significant. And And in Latin America, Cuba, just they developed their own vaccine, and now they are in a clinical trial. The first 34 people, they got the vaccine, and they didn't have reaction, really difficult reaction to it. Is the vaccine, I think, was more advanced. In Latin America, I think it's gonna come to the market in January to February. And the other, Argentina is joining, I think, with the University of Oxford in some initiative like this. And they were inviting Mexico too. There's gonna be some of the country who are working in that process of the vaccine. China has a great vaccine advanced too. They has been having a great clinical trial. I think it's the more extensive, clinical trial, because they have some thousands of people who has already had their clinical trial. I think the China one gonna be, I think, in December, like what they were saying. But the only things, the better vaccine that we have now is taking care of ourselves, use our, that's gonna be our accompanying us. We making our, we have to make our test every time, wash our hands, keep the individual distance, not the social distance, no, because we have connection through those online systems, but the individual distance. And we have to teach the people that this disease exists and is killing people. You don't imagine how many medical doctors who are our friend has been dying. Just a week ago, we lose 3 of our friends in the same day, that we went to school together. Then it's really difficult to, people catching coronavirus in parties and drinking all over and go to the hospital to infect the doctors, It's really, really sad for us. It's simply complicated. I think we should have something in these things who take temperature, who see where the people get infected. We could select who attend, who we can send back home. But it's difficult to do that. You have to attend all the people, and the system, the government system, is not providing all the protection and security to the medical personnel to be able to deliver the work properly. It's very sad. It's impacting all over. Many people are dying, and still the people are not taking conscious what is happening. But this disease come to stay with us. I think we have to take the positive things about it to stay home. I think we have more opportunity to share with our family. Some of you can stay back home. Us, like a medical doctor, we have to go out every time. Working in a hospital is a little bit difficult in the middle of the situation of pandemic, because every night we have to return back home with our family, and we have to be thinking every night if we infected our grandma or mom or our kids back home. I think we have to take the opportunity to be with this opportunity at home to try to do, come together, learn how to live as a family, how to live together, build our friendship through online and different other things that we can do, who can help us to grow as a people, And the other things is really good to know that the sky is not the limit. You do not limit yourself based on the things you only see daily, We have to think, worldwide, know that the patria es humanidad is the best thing that we have to learn. I think, and we have to dream big. That's the best things, I'm not afraid, and I love to dream when I'm awake. That's the best way to dream, and dream big, and we can do many things. And, and I believe in that. When I was applying to go to Harvard School after I finished med school, and I remember some of my friends told me that I was crazy, because they told me, Harvard, there are 80,000 people applying to Harvard, every year, and, they just select like a 4,000 to 3,000, And I say, I always see myself in the 3,000. Even I see myself in the first 10. I think we have to be able to do that when we do as a young people, as a people who are doing things. And I think this is part of our right as a citizens. Sometimes we are afraid to go for the opportunities too. we don't have to be afraid to go for that opportunity. The only thing that we can get is something deny the opportunity, but we have to give our value, you know. Somebody denied the opportunity for themselves, you know, to be in our company, you know. But we have a value, you know. We have to believe in ourselves, and this is one of the biggest things I have been learning in life, and I share with my brothers here, with Dr. Douglas. Then, you know, we are like a brothers because we share this, you know, this humbling beginning, you know. You know, we know how much we struggle to be where we are. And here we are now. And when we are, we don't talk about our degrees, you know, it's not really important for us. When we go to our village with our shoes, we stay with our people right there, talking with the elders, giving them love, singing with them. You know, that's the best things, that they can feel like they're like us. Dr. Douglas drive from here to go to the village, eat and share with the people. I think that's one of the greatest things, that greatest gift that we can take with us, and people can remember us like one of them, you know. It's really beautiful for people to see you like a one of them, not really far from them, you know. And I think we have to believe in ourselves. If we don't do nothing when we are young, we're gonna be counting fake history when we get old. Then I think this is the best opportunity that we have. We have to change the world. You know, we have to make a path for those who are coming after us, because our parents make a path for us. That's why it's a little bit more easy for us. You know, we have to make it more easy for those who are coming. You know, I think all of us have the responsibility to do something. That's the only way to build citizenship. You know, I know that we have right and we have responsibilities, and we have right to do, you know, and every one of us have to do what they have to do, you know. Some of them they can build bridges, but you can do a small farm right there in the garden next to your house, and you're gonna be collaborating to the food sovereignty. You don't have to wait to build, you know, to grow like thousands of acres. You can set the sample there. You can save the water. You can love the neighbor. You can love the animals, you know. You can remember, you can see the one who, you know, you see the people who beat the animals. They're showing who they are, you know. We can love the animals, love the environment, love our people, and love ourselves. I think some of the things that we have to show in the society where we live as a young people, as example. I think this is one of the things that we can do, and any one of us can do something. And when we put all those little things together, you know, nobody can stop the change, you know. Nobody can stop the change. We put all these little things together, brothers and sisters. You know, somebody say that nadie puede más que todos nosotros juntos. Nobody can, you know, nobody can more than all of us together. I think if we do all these little things, we can save the world, and a better world is possible.